Hi, third, fourth, and fifth grade leaders. We're preparing for August 16th in our series called Like Jesus. Today, you will notice when you come into group that we have third, fourth, and fifth graders all together in one big room. This is to help with the transmission of COVID-19 right now. What we know is that if we have the space to spread everybody out, we should use that space to spread everybody out. Now, I realize we all work with kids, and keeping kids off of each other is a challenge. But know that I have done as much research as I can possibly do, and I feel like what we are doing is best practice in helping prevent the spread. The best way that we can prevent the spread right now is for you to do a self-check and a self-check on your family regularly to ensure that none of you are exhibiting symptoms of the disease. And so that would be the most help right now, on top of us wearing face masks and washing our hands as often as we can. And so our environments are set up with the understanding that kids are going to be kids and we want them to be kids. And so we're just giving them more space to spread out and be kids in. So your small group lesson today, you're going to be talking about Jesus and Nicodemus. Now you will notice, because you're in the big room, that the big screen is on. That will be how you use your large group lesson. You will be in charge of when you watch the large group lesson. Everything is recorded for you like we would do it on stage when we were doing large group. And so you still get the exact same experience in a small group, and you will have a teenager, or you could use one of the kids. I'm sure many of them in your group know how to do it, to run the computer while you guys are participating in large group. After that's all over, then you can follow through with all of the small group activities like we typically do. So that order and how everything happens, that's totally up to you as a small group leader. And the feedback I've received from most of you is you are really enjoying having that time to be just together as a group and to continue to build relationships with each other uninterrupted. And so we're going to continue that for quite a while. Your social activity is called Chit Chat cards. And these are just little discussion starters. You have a new group of third graders in with you. And last week we launched our fifth graders into sixth grade. And so you just kind of have a different makeup of kids. And so all of the kids don't necessarily know each other. And I guarantee most of them couldn't answer most of these questions for each other at all. And so use those as a way to get to know each other. These social activities are meant for you to build relationships with kids. There are two other activities that are set up in your room. You have an air hockey table, and you also have a beanbag toss. Those are other ways that kids can spread out and play games. As you are filling time, you could use that as a reward after you're done with small group. Everybody can get the chance to play the games a couple times. Totally up to you. This is your space, but we are trying to give you as many tools as possible to allow the kids to be kids in that space. So your story today is Jesus and Nicodemus, and I just kind of want to give you a little bit of a background so that you know how you are talking about this with the kids. So Jesus has been teaching, and Nicodemus takes notice. Nicodemus is a part of the Sanhedrin and a part of the Pharisees. He's an older gentleman, probably a grandpa kind of type. I picture my dad when I picture who Nicodemus was. And Nicodemus took notice of Jesus. He noticed that he was teaching with authority and that he had something to say. And so he goes to Jesus and he says to him, "We know God sent you. No one could do the things you do if God was not with him." And this was kind of Nicodemus's way of saying, "Hey, tell me what's going on." And Jesus, in his God fashion, I don't know about you, but when I hear God talk the way Jesus talks to people as he tells these stories. It's like one of those, there's a bigger picture than I could ever imagine kind of things. And what Jesus says to Nicodemus was, You must be born again to see God's kingdom. Now, that was really hard for Nicodemus to understand what Jesus was saying. He's like, I just acknowledge that you know about God and that obviously God has sent you. What are you telling me? I can't be born again. I'm an old man. And that's true. Like physically, he couldn't be born again. But what Jesus was doing was pointing out that what the Pharisees and the priests and everybody in the Jewish law was teaching was that you had to do all the right things in the law so that God would acknowledge you. Now, God did give the Israelite people those laws so that they could remember to acknowledge God as their God. But what Jesus was pointing out, that God didn't design that for us from the very beginning of time. God's design for us was to be in relationship with Him always, not to follow all of the rules except for one. Don't eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There was only one rule we had to follow. Now there's a whole lot of laws, and what Jesus is pointing out to Nicodemus is you don't have to do anything except for believe that you need a savior, a way to fix your sin problem. You need a way to fix this sin problem, and I am that way. And so essentially, Jesus just shared the entire gospel with Nicodemus, and that all of us have a sin problem, and that we need the chance to have a savior to rescue us from that sin problem so we can have relationship with God again, the way He designed us to have relationship with Him in the very beginning of time with Adam and Eve. And so in your lesson today, you're going to get the chance to practice ways that you can build relationships with people so that you can share the truth of the gospel. And so you have a whole stack of cards here with all kinds of words on them. And I know some of them are going to be interesting to you, like make friends or explore the city. How in the world can you do these things and share Jesus at the same time? So what you're going to do is spread these throughout the room, walk around to each one, and ask kids to help you brainstorm how doing these things could give them the opportunity to share the gospel. Just like people who work in the church or are a part of a missionary organization, we use these tools all the time as ways to share who Jesus is to us. I know some of my favorite conversations are over my dinner table with a group of friends so that we can share what God's doing in our life and what we believe Jesus can do for us for life. And so we want kids to know that because they believe in Jesus, and if they don't, this is maybe an opportunity for you to talk about that. But because we're going to assume many of them do, because they believe in Jesus, they can share that with other people. In fact, Jesus implored us all that as soon as we believe, it is our job, not the church's job, not just missionaries' job, although we will do that. It is every person's job to begin to share the gospel with every single person they know. And so today you're going to get to talk about ways that you can do that. Your memory verse activity is like a Mad Libs. What you're going to do is say the memory verse together a few times. It's John 3:16. This might be something that's familiar to kids. And then what you're going to do is there's certain words that you'll take out of it, and then you'll get kids to insert another word that's similar to that, and then read it in its silly way, and ask kids to tell you what words should go in that place of what was taken out. Hopefully you can understand that a little bit better by reading the paper and doing that with the kids. But essentially, it's like playing Mad Libs with your kiddos. And then you have coloring pages, and you can spend time playing until their parents come to get them. If you'd like to go outside, you are always welcome to do that as well. I encourage you to try to do the lesson first before you go outside. But if you want to take it outside and to do your your small group activity outside, you could do that as well. Thank you so much for leading. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you again soon.